Good morning. For those of you who don't know us, we are Derrick and Lynne Bruhn. We started attending FCC in May of 2001 when we moved to Monticello. This was prompted by a visit one day in my office from Tub Robinson. And Tub asked if I was currently going to church anywhere, and we looked around a little bit. But you could tell when Tub started talking about FCC, he was very excited about the young families, the growth that was going on at FCC. I went home that evening, talked with Lynne. We decided that next Sunday we were going to attend FCC for the first time. And shortly thereafter attending, we got plugged into a small group. Which was great for us, allowed us to make new relationships, being new in the community, and also built about some friendships and relationships that have been invaluable to us throughout the years that we've been at FCC. Along with that process of getting plugged in, there's been different things that we've done within the church, and one of the things here recently has been being part of the Cabinet Campaign Committee. And on that committee, we were with Terry and Chris Ziegler, and we were in charge of doing with our team the VIP visits, and that took a lot of organization. And so one morning, I can remember we met here in the parlor. It was Terry, Chris, and myself, and did some organization to get ready for the VIP visits. And Terry got a message, and she looked straight at me, and she said, "Do you have a passport?" My response was, "Yeah, I've got a passport." She said, "Would you want to go to Guatemala tomorrow morning?" And I was like, wow, where'd that come from? No, I don't. I've got a lot of things going on with these VIP visits. I've got a meeting just about every day at work. It can't fit. So she was kind of okay with that, and we went about the rest of the meeting, getting the things that we needed accomplished. The next that day at lunch, I met Lynne and the girls in Champaign, and we talked a little bit about the meeting. I said, Terry asked me if I would go on the Guatemala mission trip tomorrow. And Lynne's response was,
I said you should go.
The only word I heard was go. And that word stuck with me throughout the rest of the day. I went home, did some things with the girls, and ended up later in the day mowing the grass. And I thought a lot about that word that Lynne had said, and go. But the more I thought about Lynne's word of go, and all my excuses that I have of things that I had to do, were those really things that I had to do, or were those things that God wanted me to do? And if God wants me to go on this mission trip, then I need to give him the opportunity to get me there. So Lynne and I talked a little bit more about it that evening. We decided I need to check with my boss, Scott. I gave Scott a call, and he was already familiar with the trip because another gentleman from the company, Chris Hood, was already scheduled to attend the trip, and he had very much of the same response that Lynne did, go. So that kind of gave me my final clearance at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock that night. I finally decided that we were going to go. I was going to be leaving for Guatemala within 11 hours. I had to pack, had to get things ready. So a lot going on, but that trip was probably the most humbling experience that I've ever had in my life. There was a lot of things that God did in order to get me to Guatemala, as far as clearances at the airport. Anybody that was on that trip knows that there was a lot of things that took place that without God's help wouldn't have happened. But we built a house, the group did, a house for a family that had absolutely nothing. And that concept, as far as how people survive with absolutely nothing, has carried back home with me. And I've talked with Lynne a lot about it. We've prayed a lot about it. How can we do with less? Because there's other families that can do with a lot less than what we have and still be happy. So we've talked a lot about some of the things that we enjoy. Lynne enjoys purses and shoes, and she's passed that joy down to the girls. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me. I have a couple hobbies that I'm working on, that I have been working on the last couple winters that we're evaluating. But the bottom line, Lynne and I both grew up in a good Christian family. One of the first things that we were taught was how to tithe, and that has always stuck with us. We have always tithed first. And even though we've tithed, we're trying to challenge that even more currently. And over the past 6 weeks, we've tithed in addition to what we've ever done before. And through that process, we've kind of challenged God. And we've seen just within the last 6 weeks, when you challenge God, God can provide. And it's been very powerful to us already. And we're just excited about the Growing Generations campaign. And we appreciate the time and you as the family of FCC that has helped support us and prayed for us over the years. And we thank you all for that.